What up, everybody? How you doing? And welcome to the show. I am Mike Watson, the publisher of Short Fuse Media Group, founder of Freestyle Comics, one half of the good, the bad, and the nerdy, the most enthusiastic person in comics, aka Super Mad Brother, in the building. Your host today and every day that we do chat and draw. And what's Chat and Draw? It's just a little show where I sit at the table, the virtual drawing table, across from another friend, and we talk. We talk geekdom and comics, and we talk about their character and what they brought to the show today. And I've got a pretty interesting guy coming on here. I've had more than one run-ins with him, and we'll be talking about his things and all that stuff that he's got going on. But today, I got a package. And it says it's shipped from, oh yeah, Freestyle Comics right there. I love seeing that in there. I have a good idea of what this is. Danny Cooper, the editor-in-chief of Freestyle Comics, designed trucker FSK hats, and they look fantastic. And so I think that is what this is right here. So, boom. Oh, and it is. Oh, look at that bad. That bad boy is clean. Oh man, hold on. We got to throw this on. I got a big head, so maybe that. I need one more. Need one more. Let's bring it up here. Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. Oh, sometimes it's the little things, man. It's that simple FSK just looks so hard on a hat. Whew. Acronyms for the win. What's up, Andrew? What's up, Cameron? And what's up, Kyron? Thank you so much for tuning into the show today, and everybody else that is here with us. If we have any new viewers, welcome to the show. This cap can be purchased online. And it would have been great if I had the link for that, wouldn't it? I do. Let me find it. But you can get this hat. It is $24. That's including shipping. $24 including shipping and the hat. I'm a big fan of this one just because it is a cheaper price than the other hat that we have, which is like a more fitted model or whatnot. But I like this black and white thing we got going on with this one, man. Oh, it's hat sexy for me. So I think it's a little bit crooked. A little bit? I don't know. I'll straighten that out later. All right, let me see if I can grab this link for you guys. Because I brought some other links because, I'm going to promote. That's what we're going to do. I got this thing called branding. We got this merch and stuff. So we're definitely going to bring that all in the business here. Let me see. Oh, I know where it is. I know exactly where it is. So give me one. So while I get that, I'm going to check. I'll have this pop up in here. We're going to get into the kit and caboodle of everything. I'll be putting in some links for the hat, for our shirts, and for our comics. Cameron says, thank you, Kyron. Cameron says, nice cap. Andrew says, looks nice, man. I love wearing mine at work as well as talking about my Indestruction shirt to a coworker. That's nice. That's nice. Is that a hat? Not a cap? No cap? Cap hat? I say the same thing. I feel like the same thing. Oh, BLS, just saying. Hey. Is you saying what I think you saying, Moana? Oh, Moana gets me excited. She gets me excited because we're working on some things. We're working on some things here. All right, so let's not waste any more time and let's find out who we got on this show. Somebody I adore very much. I think he's a real cool dude. We get into several discussions. Half of them are arguments, but it's all good times, and we always have fun with them. Here we go.
Here comes a new challenger.
What's up?
What's happening?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. Tell everybody who you are and what you do and why you're here.
All right. So my name is Trexrell White. I'm a part of a two-person game development team with me and my wife. It's called White Guardian Studios, and we make games. We've been doing it for a while now. I think we went pro in around 2013, 14. when we ran our first Kickstarter to get our first game funding called Demon's Revenge. And I think it was around that time that I actually discovered indie comics and Mike Watson and what he does. Right. So, that's what we do. I believe what we're here to discuss is some of our projects and things that we work on. But the other things that I want to discuss is things in freestyle comics. It's been a while. I want to really get in in-depth talk about Mike with a lot of things that we discussed before. And before we get any further, is one thing in particular that I was right about and I told him about, and this is going to be a surprise to him when we talk about, and of course, some people got enjoyment out of this game. I told you what Marvel's Avengers was going to be when it was coming out, when they first did the first announcement, and you was like, nah, you being negative. I'm like, nah. You can see it. Everything was written on the walls.
Oh,
they were saying saying about how they weren't going to charge for characters, that they were going to do skins, and the verdict is still out.
what are you talking? They're not charging for characters.
And
I still enjoy that game.
Okay,
I've been playing the hell out of it.
100%. But they're going to charge for things. And
I know they're going to charge for things. I've always said they're going to charge for things. They're going to do it like Fortnite.
Oh, I think they're going to be a little worse because when they said, and remember I said this here, they said they weren't going to charge for characters, that they're going to charge for skins. It can so happen that some characters could be skins, right? They're like, oh, we're going to do a Miles Morales skin for Spider-Man, right? And they're going to charge you for it. It may have little things different here and there. Or we're gonna do.
I don't think they're gonna do.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I know you're just guessing, but
I'm not guessing. This is why. I
don't think they're doing a Miles Morales skin.
This is why I'm going.
Miles Morales has his own video game.
That's fine.
And they didn't put his skin in Spider-Man 1 before that specific reason.
That's cool, right? But this is the thing. They did a game and they charged us. They charged for a $60 game that they say that they're going to continue to operate and work on. So they're going to need to make money in order to continue to maintain that game and to continue to add content like they say they want to.
I'm just lost as to where you got that. I didn't think they were going to charge for anything. I know they're going to charge for stuff.
Oh no, I didn't say that. I'm just saying that the game, the game feels largely incomplete, right? The game feels, especially once you go into the story feels incomplete when you're done with it. It's like I feel like there should be more because you kind of get that feeling, and it probably was. Just the fact that they kind of take stuff out so they can put it back in, so they can keep you coming back for more. And they're going to charge for it because that's the only way they can keep it going. Without continue to add content that you have to pay for, it's going to die. So, and if they don't do it, it's going to die. And it looks like it's dying now. It looks like it's dying now. There's not a lot of people playing it. So all that content about skins and everything that they were going to add, I don't think it's going to happen unless people start picking up and buying this game. And we've seen it numerous times. We've seen it with Anthem and we've seen it with Fallout. We've seen it with a lot of these games. They go ahead and they want to do these games as a service, and they kind of.
Well, I think you're talking a little too early, buddy. I don't think you're proven right until it actually happens.
It's there.
And I play the game a lot. I'm on there with a lot of different people. I feel like the game is fun. I have been enjoying it.
Absolutely. It is I think it's a game for the fans. And when you're a fan, you sort of look past a lot of the bad things about the game, and you just enjoy it for what it is. I can go through smashing as a Hulk. I'm having a great time.
No, because I actually dislike playing as the Hulk. I can objectively critique it. The best characters are Kamala Khan, Captain America, and Iron Man.
All right. Okay.
Gameplay wise, Thor is super fun, but you gotta figure out how to rig that extra stuff to make him more powerful or whatnot. Yeah. I wish if I'm Thor and Iron Man, I wish I could pick up the people that can't fly.
Okay.
Like Black Widow and shit. Like I wish she can grab my hand and I can fly her where she needs to go. I wish some of the objectives, I'm a completist.
Yeah.
So I like playing the whole if I take the time to get into a match there, I want to do all the objectives because I'm trying to get all the XP and shit.
Yeah.
So I wish it was easier to find people who are more gaming like that because I'd say about 70% of the time I play with people that just want to focus on the main goal.
Yeah, they just
and if you just play the main goal, then yes, the time limit on there sucks. It's like you can get it done in 10 or 15 minutes if you just work on the main goal. But if you play the full map, I could be on the map an hour, 10 minutes, just trying to do everything on the map or whatnot.
Yeah.
I do hate the skins. Do not get it wrong. I hate the skins. The skins are
Yes.
ugly as hell. They are trifling
I don't know why they decided to go that direction.
because they want you to buy the skins.
Yeah.
They want
you
you
to buy
like
the good
when they start buying
good
dropping
skins.
the good
Yeah.
skins, they want you to pay for the good skins.
Mhm.
They just don't understand. I'm cheap.
Yes.
Like they're like if they drop Captain America's MCU uniform,
Mhm.
I'll buy that. If they drop a good Black Widow costume, I'll pay for that. But you're not going to get any money from me for a skin. And I imagine they're going to drop story scenarios.
Mhm.
Like there's a few of them that are really big. Some they're like the story connected ones take a little while to go through. So I imagine like when they drop a character, they'll drop that character and maybe 2 or 3 maps that come with that character as far as story content.
Yeah.
But there is no yeah, I got it, Danny Cooper. There's no doubt in my mind that when they drop a huge update, that's going to cost money.
Yeah.
Like how they're doing, and actually, it's how I prefer that they do it. I want them to do it like they're doing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
PS4 Spider-Man, I must have put 100+ hours into that game. DLC and everything, like just awesome. I waited to get the DLC for that though. I waited till that whole thing was $20 altogether. I could hold off for that. But now
definitive edition.
yeah, Miles Morales is an expansion of that game.
Yeah. Well, they say it's supposed to be a full game, but we know
it is.
Well, we know
it's like the Drake Uncharted game when they dropped the one with the girls, which I love, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind that because that's like a $45-$50 thing. And when I played Drake's Uncharted, damn, what's the name of it? With the 2 female characters, I absolutely loved it. I loved it better than Drake 4.
Mm-hmm.
And there was enough content in there to justify it. That's all I care about at the end of the day. If there's enough content to justify it. I'm not silly enough to believe that everything we're going to get from them is free, but I think they're going to play it to the letter of their own law. They are going to give us the characters for free. Okay. Hawkeye, Dove, Black Panther, those characters are going to be free, and they'll come with 2 or 3 story segments that will play in existing maps.
Oh, that can't be free.
And there'll be 1 map free with that.
Now, in a perfect world, I would say that's free. But man, like the work that has to go into doing the character, and then you have the equipment that they can have, and then you have their stats for their moves, and you have the new animations for each character, and those characters have skins on top of them. It's just kind of hard to imagine them just sort of giving that stuff away for free. That's a tough one for me. That's tough. We'll have to see. You know, maybe you're right, but I don't see it, man. Like even now, how they're delaying the 2 characters they're supposed to come out with, it's tough. Mm-hmm. It's real tough.
Like I honestly don't see anywhere where we really are disagreeing on this, besides probably like the how much fun you're having with the game versus how much fun I'm having with the game.
I disagree because I think they're going to end up charging for characters. They're going to go back on their word because the game didn't do as well as they wanted it to do from the door, and that's what I think it is. Because you know, nowadays those reviews do matter, and I think that's what's probably going on with this game. Now, before I get into another long discussion,
tell us who we drawing. Who we here for today?
So today, I believe Moana asks about the picture in my background. So this is the character, and the thing that we're drawing today is called Lost, from a game that we're developing called Lost World. And Lost World is a game set in our video game universe called the Celestial Tier. In this Celestial Tier, there is the universe where the people thrive and live, and that is the anti-universe called the Void. Right? It's constant. They're constantly sort of fighting against each other. There's yin and yang about how the universe. The Void is for destruction, and the universe is for growth and to continue to evolve. right?
Hold up real quick. If you
Yeah.
guys are enjoying the hat or you like it, you want to get a copy, $24. That includes the shipping in total. I just put the link in there for you to be able to get that hat. We just posted that on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitch. This hat feels excellent. $24, including the shipping right there for you guys. All right, back
So,
on you.
oh, no problem. So this character over here, this is Jake Contour, and she's a part of the basically the Universal Policing group called the Academy. And what they do is they monitor any scientist, technology, anything that can be used to sort of breach between the void and their universe. What happens is that breach does eventually happen, and while she's on patrol with a bunch of recruits, she gets sucked into the void onto this lost world. And while she is there, she has to survive, and with two recruits that absolutely despise her on this planet while they navigate this place. There's air on this planet that causes these characters to go crazy, and when they do, they are hunted by this thing over here, which is a void creature. So that's Lost World in a nutshell. So Jake Contour is the headmaster of the Academy, and she just became headmaster because the original headmaster stepped down. So now she has to, very early on, she has to get these young recruits together in order to understand the way that she wants to run things. And she wants everyone to do well. She takes all her recruits together like they were one of her own, like her own children. But she has a bit of a tough love, right? So she doesn't take any nonsense, and it's for the betterment of the recruits. They have to learn how to survive on the fly. They have to learn what their job is in order to be able to do it successfully. Two recruits are rubbed the wrong way, and they make her life miserable. And she takes it. She's sees herself like their mother, and she takes it, and she still, no matter how they treat her, she still wants them to be, top recruits. She wants everybody to be the top that they could. And she's stuck with these two on this planet, and they do not trust her. They give her a hard time, and she has to work with these two in order to find her recruits. And with this story, there's a bunch of ups, a bunch of downs. And I can't really say too much without giving way too much away. So that's the general idea of the story.
Oh, I'm sorry. Corrected. Editor in chief getting me together. It's $25, not 24. My fault. $1 difference. Not even that big of a deal, guys. My apologies. Y'all should still get the hat. So this sounds real interesting. I like this situation that you have this character in. And it's almost a little reminiscent of the what Ironsmith is going through with Heroes International.
Yeah.
Except she doesn't want to be in that position.
Yeah.
And she's got people terrorizing her. So is this going, and this is for a game, right? You said?
Yeah, it's for a game, yeah.
So what kind of game specifically is it? What type of game are we talking about here?
It's like a survival RPG, almost like a roguelike. So in the game, you're going around these different biomes and you're gathering up materials because you're surviving. You use these materials to build weapons and to build your base that you're going to survive in order to stay away from a lot of the sanity causing gas that's around, right? So while you're there, you're building up your base, you're building up facilities, you're building up defensives in order to survive there. So after you go out and you harvest, you come back and you prepare for that. You can call it a night. We basically, it's like this time where weather is coming, so there's like sort of acid rain comes that sort of induces your sanity. So you have to survive. You have to maintain your sanity in order to survive. The worse your sanity gets, the more likely one of the void horrors are going to come and kill you. So the cool thing about it is all three of the characters use these. They use the things that you harvest very differently. So since you're on this planet, you have to gather the monsters that are around, right? And with those monsters, you have to eat them. You have to use their bones.
Hold up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold up. So there's this whole thing where I was riding with you. I was in the car.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And all of a sudden you hit a pothole. Like I don't even like eating seafood. You talking
Oh,
about if I
absolutely.
was on this world, I gotta eat the
You got to
monsters?
eat the monsters there, and they are some of them are grotesque. Some of because okay, so the monsters are. My original idea was to make it like Pokemon, right?
Hmm.
So you were had the same concept, but it was like dark Pokemon. So instead of being sort of based on the elements, they're based on things that are either really dangerous or just like things that we would consider um, pollutants, right?
Hmm.
So these monsters are made. The type of monsters are glass, plastic. Um, you have chemicals. You have plasma, and then you have the void. So these are like the elements that they're made of. So when you do eat these, you get some of the resistances to these elements, but also one of the characters who is a an alien who, whenever she absorbs, she sort of it becomes part of her being. So if she eats a monster, she gets that monster's physical attributes, and she also gets that monster's abilities, right? So the other character, let's say you had a character who had this really strong eyeball and his really long tongue, and you craft that creature's parts into nunchucks, right? So
Okay.
and then the other characters you use parts as projectiles. Like it's this bug called a horned gormit who shoots this plasma stinger out of its tail, and you can use that plasma stinger as ammunition in this particular character's gun.
Hmm.
So the different character uses the different things that you harvest in very different ways, and you sort of balance that out how you want to go ahead and progress through the game. So
Okay.
there's some so that's sort of progression in the game. They also have their own individual abilities, like the character who you're drawing now, Jake. She's what you would call a Floridian. So she has the ability to that race has the ability to sort of um, what do you call it? Absorb kinetic energy, and then
Uh-huh.
she can output that into her pistols that she use.
Oh, okay.
Another character, his name is Uzu. He has what you call he sort of control gravity, but he's like a low level gravity user from his planet. His culture is based on how much power you have,
Hmm.
and he since he doesn't have a lot, he sort of takes it out on other races because he looked down on them. But he uses that gravity ability in order to like make shields, and he uses it to make projectiles and things like that. And the other character, Trash, is the one who uses the ability to absorb those aliens and use those abilities that they have as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice. So it sounds like you got a lot going on here, man. Like, how long is it taking you guys to come up with this whole process to get to where it's playable?
Well, right now we're working on a playable build, which is going to be done this month. We've been working on sort of building the concept for a couple of months now, and like we're executing now because we were part of that Fiverr contest, and after the Fiverr contest, the Ultimate Game Idea contest, where we were semi-finalists, we end up getting interest from publishers who wanted to get a build so that they can see if they want to fund it. So right now, that's where we're sort of at with getting the build out. And yeah, so I could say, because we've been building assets before that, so I could say it's probably about 3 months that we've been getting
Hmm.
just a solid build for this game. Before that, though, we've been working on numerous projects that we start that has actually gotten us a couple jobs over time. Um, and now we're just moving into this project. There was another project that we were working on before this. It was called The Union.
Hmm.
And the union, we're still kind of working on that on the side because this sort of took over when we said, okay, people want to give us money, so now we have to sort of work on this one. So the union,
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
so so the union was like the union was something we was working on before this, and this was like a bunch of comic book characters that I thought were like really cool, and we wanted to put them in like this. At first, it was a platformer, then it was a beat 'em up, and then now I'm sort of on the hybrid of a beat 'em up sort of fighter. So that's
Hmm.
what the union is on now. We're sort of also slowly working on that one as well. So, but of course, this one has taken like grand most of our time, and that's what we're working on at the moment. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that we have sort of going on here with our Patreon and all that stuff that we're doing. Uh, so we're having fun.
So, has the wife always been part of this plan, or was that something of a recent development? You hear about dang it, stop it. Go back. You hear about the what's happening? Why did it do that? You hear about the couples working together and things like that.
Yeah,
Sometimes it starts off as a solo thing, and then the spouse gets brought into it or whatnot. But
yeah,
did you guys start off in the business together, or was it a merger later on?
yeah. Well, we met in college, so we met in the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, right? And we basically been. I think we were working on our own separate projects, and then later in our relationship, we just sort of came together, and so it's always been um, us working together. So that was from the door. Like I think our relationship has been sort of almost built around that. I make
Okay,
games. So yeah, that has always been the thing. She's the coder, um, and I'm the pixel artist.
all right.
You know, and concept artist and writer, and when you're doing anything, you wear a lot of hats. So we've been working together.
You do wear a lot of hats.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's awesome, man. You guys have been together for a while
Yeah.
and working this out or whatnot. How difficult has this process been for you guys, to start to bring things together? Danger quick, yes, I am drawing guns. It seems like the more and more I do the show, the more and more I get people giving me stuff that I don't normally draw, which is fine, and it's okay. We gonna rock with it. But how long was this process to get where you guys are right now?
It took some time. Our first game that we did, we actually had what's called Demon Revenge. When I say we ran Kickstarter, I actually meant we ran 4. So we ran the first Kickstarter. It didn't work. I was like, we can do it again. That one didn't work, and then we did it again. So each time was a learning process and understanding how it actually worked and what you needed to do in order for it to have success. And on the fourth go around, we made it. And then from there, we actually got with our first publisher. And we went to our first event, which was at the time it was called PAX Prime.
Okay.
That's where we met a lot of the context that we have now. And after the first game, we started working on other projects. And then for every project, for everything that we actually did, we learned more and more, and we got better. I think the Kickstarter was really good for us, and at least for me, in understanding marketing and promotion, and understand how important that was in these creative endeavors in general. And we're still learning stuff. I learned that I didn't particularly want to do all the marketing stuff myself, and we started to mess around the idea like now how we're talking with publishers. But the process, I think the best part about the process was the people who you meet along the way, the connects that you build.
Y'all, sir, you getting called out on YouTube. Look,
Oh yeah, I see it.
Co-writer, sir. Co-writer.
Well, when we talk about co-writing, we talk about she creates a character and she basically says, just do something with it. Right. So it's like, okay, who is this character? Where's she from? She's like, I don't know. I made the character. It's cool. Make it make sense. So I'm the make it make sense guy. So yeah, so that's what definitely co-writer. A lot of things that she had.
Ma'am, I have nothing to do with what your husband is saying right now. I want you to know. I hope you've been watching the whole episode. This is his interpretation of what's happening right now.
But she plays a big part in everything here. Like she basically comes up with, she said, this is what we're going to do. And I just asked a bunch of questions because I really want things to make sense. And yeah, so we work together on that most of the time. Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun working with my wife.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, make it make sense. Yeah. Sometimes she think she's my supervisor. Sometimes she'll look over my shoulder on my computer and she'll be like, "Well, you got those tiles?" And
Uh,
so it's fun, but also it's kind of weird to have your supervisor always over your shoulder at all times, at all parts of the day. Ask me if things are done yet. So
hey, that's what's up.
yeah,
Constant motivation.
yeah, I guess you can call it that.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's get a little personal with this character right now.
Okay.
What are some likes, some dislikes, some annoyances with this character,
Uh,
personality wise?
I think a lot of people, or she really starts off as being a bit of I guess you can call her a bit of a nag, right? She wants things. I wouldn't say that she wants things her way. She just is very disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lot into her work. She has a heart and is there, but she doesn't really show it, especially to her recruits because she understands how dangerous the job is, and she feels like if she doesn't teach them correctly, they're going to fail, and they're even worse, they're going to die, right? Because
Right, right, right.
there's two concerns that she has. Uh, she has concern with her recruits and them surviving. And she also has concern with the universe, which is at stake, and um, she really has to be hard on her recruits about it. So I think that's something that can be misinterpreted to the people who she's actually trying to teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was the process for actually creating her and getting her personality type and making her the way that she is?
So there was my original game was called Erupt, right? And
Mm-hmm.
my wife's original game was called Demon Revenge, and we sat from that was the thing that we were working on individually at first. So we worked on these things, and my wife made her game, I made mine, and my wife said that my game sucked. And then after
Mm,
further looking into it, she was 100% correct. So I went to work on her game. So this character was in it, and this character was very different. So we had decided we wanted to do like a small game, and a very small game, which this game was supposed to be, and it's no longer that. And when we started to work on it, this is one of the characters that came up, and it was from that original game, and there was a lot of things that changed with it. Two characters that were in it that we still ended up using was Trask and Uzu, two characters in this, and we sort of fleshed those characters out to be a lot better than they were. Um, and that's where she came from. And was pretty much, she was a lot sillier. She was like this, sort of like this chief of police that wasn't really particularly great at what she was doing.
okay.
But we changed that around a bit to make her into what she is now,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty much a headmaster of the academy. Oh, the academy, which is the group that she's a part of.
Right, 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 right.
And very originally, she was a as my very first iteration of this character, she was male, and then I think that she worked better as a female. I think it was just like so her role as being headmaster and teaching and having like this sort of motherly instinct with her, but also somebody who's not to be trifled with, who was very
Mm-hmm.
demanding. I think it just worked better for this particular character, and I don't know. I just think she's cool.
Now, now the question is,
Yeah,
would she get along with Vigilance?
I think so. I think she would get along with Vigilance. I think I think she would get along with the Vigilance that we know of on Earth. I'll put it like that.
Mm.
I don't know about that Vigilance that rings fear throughout the universe.
Yeah, I
And
think from the way that you describe it, I think that they would, if they cross paths, they would get along. I
I
think
think
they
they
have
would get
similar
along. And see,
attitude.
absolutely. But here's the thing: um, if she finds out who Vigilance actually is, see, I don't really know. I just got hints of who Vigilance actually is. If she finds out who Vigilance is hinted to actually being, right? I don't think
Mhm.
that is. I don't think that they will no longer get along because duty takes precedence for her over her personal relationships, right? Because they could
I
be friends
believe it.
at first. So when it comes to that and finding out who uh vigilance is, I think vigilance has to be, you know, we have to question that, right?
Hmm.
So we really have to question that. So I mean that's a good thing to segue in. So with vigilance, right? And you had this conversation today on Facebook about Stormfront and vigilance.
Hmm.
And I don't know. Like I don't know if, like I said, maybe an isolated incident where it's just them two just sort of fighting, maybe maybe that's a more equal fight. But if she did what she did, if Stormfront did what she did in the projects, I think Stormfront will put herself at a grave disadvantage. Because even when you look at the boys and you really, that's a scene that you can kind of like not really sort of, you kind of like, she just doing, she just feel like she's just being destructive. She's been destructive to the people there on purpose, right?
Yeah.
And even when she got the girl's brother and how she like broke his hands, I
Hmm.
think vigilance will use that and just punch a hole through Stormfront. Like
Oh.
yeah. So
Oh
so
yeah,
that's
I
so,
absolutely agree with you. Like, if all that was going on and vigilance came
yeah.
in there backing up and she saw what was happening, like, because she would have a different feeling to it because she would feel all the fear
Yeah.
and all the you know people being scared and shit, and she would go towards that and she'd see what the cause of it is.
Yeah.
Oh, she'd end her. She'd end
Yeah,
her.
it would end her. Like even the conversation like it goes in, it's like when you had before when you were talking about vigilance and you were talking about like vigilance and what she was, and I was saying, well, especially if vigilance was what you hinted her out to be. I don't want to, I don't like any spoilers, but let's say disregard anything I just said. But let's say vigilance went around the universe and she was like tormenting planet to planet to planet, and vigilance was like had everybody afraid of her, right? And that she made sure that when she goes around that they knew about her, that they understood what vigilance was. So
Hmm.
vigilance just go down and she just like destroy their greatest weapons, or she like destroy their greatest hero, or she destroy their greatest leader. And every time vigilance comes around, people would be afraid. You know what I mean? She would be a vigilance would be just as bad as dark side in that way, right?
Hmm.
Where or is fueling, she's fueled by everything that she's doing across the universe. And she would be unstoppable. There's nowhere that she can't go. People may rise up, but if you rise up here, over there they're already afraid of her, and her power is ringing throughout the universe. That is very interesting because when I read that and because and understand what her powers were, that's devastating. Which I like. That's why I said she would probably seem like if she was a bad guy, she would probably be omnipotent because of that.
Hmm.
Like I don't see anybody messing with her on that level.
Man.
But she wouldn't. It may be in her. It may be in her. I mean that goes across like when we watch when spoiler alert for The Boys season 2 for anybody who hasn't seen it. Um, I didn't think they can do it, but they actually, to me, they made you kind of see where Homelander was coming from, right?
Oh yeah, I think so too.
And they made you see where Homelander was coming from. I'm like, man, he became what he became because he had to survive. That was his play. That was his way of surviving. He had to survive because some people made him out, or their goal was to make him be that. He couldn't trust anybody. He
Hmm.
didn't have anybody to really hold on. You see, every time people are like lying to him, he has his face like, you lying to me. Like trying to discover if this person is lying to me. He has a hard time trusting, and that's why he is the way that he is. And it's kind of tough because he could have been a nice person, and it's also as if he's seeking redemption from his son and trying to make sort of make amends with the world from his son. So I also think that's interesting in the show The Boys. And I kind of see that a little bit of that in the Vigilance, but like the opposite. Like Vigilance is trying to be good, or her new persona is to be good when her past may have been a bit checkered, because we really don't know what Vigilance went through.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's I think a lot of that's spot on.
Yeah.
That's why. Well, one of the reasons
It
I'm
would
very
be.
interested for people to see
Yeah.
where we're going to take her in the fourth issue and how things start to play out with her or whatnot. And she's got some big things coming up, especially revolving or rather colliding with Hotshot.
And it's okay. And think about Hot Shot as well. I believe there's something come up when you ask that same question about what level do you think Hot Shot is, and the Void makes me think that Hot Shot is way more powerful than even Hot Shot believes he is, because uh, why would the Void come after Hot Shot, mention these things about him, and seemingly be 10 times more powerful than Hot Shot? Hot Shot couldn't do anything
Mm-hmm.
with the Void, right? And that makes me think that Hot Shot, Hot Shot, because there's a lot of things that we see within Hot Shot and his journey so far that show that he's learning and he's growing over time. And it's very interesting to see that character grow and what he goes through, and in his personal life and in his superhero life, and understand. I mean, he's going through. I'm not going to. I don't want to get any spoilers here, because just go read the books on shortfusemedia.com and the short and
Well, I think it's fine to openly talk about Hotshot and Visions, man. The books
You
have
think
been out
so?
for a while. I'm physically in production on technically the 11th issue of Hotshot.
Yeah,
3 issues of Vigilance. You need to go get them.
absolutely.
We just hit the cusp of. I've been making and working on these different books for Freestyle Comics for 20 years. So, I honestly think the conversation about them gets people interested in them.
Yeah.
It's not like we're talking about a book that hasn't been out. We got 10 issues of it out, so it's fine. You're free and clear.
Okay, so right. Well, but Vigilance had 3 books. Is it okay to talk about Vigilance as well? But okay, so with Hot Shot, we see him sort of go through these growing pains where he's experiencing, kind of going through multi dimensions, right? He's meeting people who know him, but he may not necessarily know them, and we see him going through this journey of a hero and understanding a world that he doesn't quite understand. At every point, he's kind of met with these questions like that you don't know, you don't really, to the point where you don't really understand yourself, right? And it's very interesting, right? And like we see that even as a hero, he has powers that, like I remember at one point he sort of was able to, at a distance, sort of spark this this engine to his car and make this explosion. So
A
we
lot of
see,
people don't notice that. I think
yeah,
that's so dope that you picked up on that.
yeah,
I bring that up a lot. Like Hotshot starting to explore his powers and different things he can do, and a lot of people don't notice that at first.
yeah, and it's very interesting to see that. I don't agree with people were saying about Carla. I don't agree with that 100 at all. I think people are just trolling
Uh-huh.
because any relationship is built on trust,
Mhm.
right? And if you find out something about somebody who you thought you knew, and she still really don't know him, she really still don't know what he's going through, and he's keeping these stuff away. Number one is to protect her. We understand that. The other thing is that he's missing out on, because I remember somebody said in the argument, they were saying like, well, if he was the person that he was at the beginning of the relationship and now, right? And he is, but these things have changed for him, and he has to sort of adapt his relationship to what they were actually going through. He's not wrong in what he's doing, I don't think. And even if he came right out and let her know what he was doing with his life, I'm not sure if, again, she would, you know, uh, uh, would she be able to understand that and handle that? She would probably be more worried. She'd probably be more heartbroken. She'd probably be worrying about his life, understanding who that was, and then the relationship would probably be over. So I didn't really understand how people were like against Carla's decision to not be in a relationship with Hotshot and wanting more out of him. So no, he's probably the time he was spending before he had the powers was probably a significant more time. And then when he got the powers, there was less time because he had what he felt was his responsibility. Because I kind of see Hotshot going through that same type of Spider-Man mentality with
Mm-hmm.
great power comes great responsibility, and he embodied that. But
Um,
you didn't. But you don't embody that when it comes to the Spider-Man movies. But that's a whole nother thing.
all right, sir. Touche. Touche. But I think you hit a lot of things on the head with that one because we even have Carla say, and don't hit me with that with great power response
Yeah, yeah,
in the book or
yeah,
whatnot. And that's to kind of give light to give way that she understands.
yeah,
You could have let me in, but you did not. Like you chose not to. And
yeah.
and my thing is there's two sides to every story.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, and right now the side of the story that everyone's getting is Hotshot side. That's why
Yeah.
everybody's on Hotshot side. Like, it's
Yeah.
common sense. He's a freaking superhero. Cut him a break,
Yeah.
right? But and which is why we dropped issue 0. And when we dropped issue 0, we turned a few people there. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, like, that's a day in her life, and like imagine going over that again and again and again, and not knowing the truth.
Yeah. But Vigilance is interesting, especially when you did Vigilance #1, right?
Mhm.
And we've seen her be mentored and not know who she is, and she's like she's almost she reminds me of Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, right?
Okay.
Where
Oh, okay.
yeah, so where she sort of don't know who she is, but the person who is taking her by the hand and sort of mentoring her and guiding her, she kind of takes on his personality,
Mm-hmm.
and she sort of does his job, right? So and that's where she generally like sort of lives at. Um and and that's why I said like, yo, like when she finds out where she rediscovers herself, what type of person would she be then? And that's the real interesting part about sort of going. And I just watched this movie called I believe it's called His House on Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I haven't watched it yet, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's awesome. So I kind of don't want to. I'm just going to go and I'm just going to say this. It's very similar to that movie um, where you ask a question, and then when you get the answer, you're like, oh, and I'm sort of like, I can get my, because right now when you set it up to where you kind of have us on a path to believe what we believe about her,
Mm-hmm.
but it may not. I kind of inside my head, it may not necessarily be that, and I think that's interesting. It could be that, but it may not necessarily be that,
Mm-hmm.
So, and because even when you see where Vigilance does get to the point to where she is harvesting all her power, she sort of cuts loose, right? She
Right.
sort of like turns to a whole nother person, and she sort of cut loose, and she becomes very violent. And like the way that she just punched a hole straight through the void, it was like, oh snap, you know what I mean? Like, dang, because uh when she fights Queen Mala, it was like sort of like the same thing, right? When she was
Mm-hmm.
fighting, and Queen Mala was sticking with her at first, but once she hit that threshold, there was nothing that could be done against Vigilance. She just turned loose there, and I thought that was interesting as well. And then in the following issue, we see sort of her mentor side, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we sort of see Vigilance as a person, and then we get a little surprise at the end, right? And that surprise, I'm like, first of all, one part of me like, okay, who brought this dude back? And I'm like, and for what? You know, because he didn't bring himself back. And I thought that that was interesting. I'm still trying to keep the spoilers there with at the end of issue 3 of Vigilance, because I think that's a really good surprise to see.
Well,
Yeah,
again, so let me just say thanks.
yeah,
Because I really appreciate how much attention you pay to the books.
yeah,
As a creator, it's a true joy to hear you pick up on the little things that we're dropping in there and pay attention to these breadcrumbs and footnotes
yeah. I want to see
that
that
we're
purple
dropping.
guy come back a little bit too.
Huh?
I forget his name. This little purple guy who walks around like a superhero.
Oh, justice.
Yeah, yeah. Not
Yeah.
justice, not justice, not justice. It's a guy who I believe he thinks he's a hero, and he wears this purple costume.
He thinks he's a hero and he
He
wears a
thinks he's
purple
a
hat.
hero wears purple costume, and we've seen him in I forgot what issue of Hot Shot this was, and I forget
Oh,
his name.
Spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. Spectrum was hilarious. I thought
I
that
was,
was funny.
I was hoping he would be. Making comic books is a hard thing to do,
Oh yeah,
and so we don't get as many issues out, on a month to month basis like we want to as
yeah,
creators or whatnot. I sit down and I read the Hot Shot books a lot. Like whenever I'm writing something or I'm working on the issues or
yeah,
trying to come up with new characters, and the one of the faults that I don't get a lot of time to do is really develop the supporting cast for Hot Shot. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I only get one book out so often, so I really got to focus on the story. But I don't have any like two comical characters, and I wanted that guy to be that. I wanted him to be
yeah,
that one thug that he could punch in the face that could be reoccurring.
yeah.
He was a reoccurring joke.
I think it's interesting about your Hot Shot book is that you know, when you first contact when I first discovered your books, right?
Mm.
And I still discovered your book because you put your books out for like free this one time, right? So you're like, okay, go ahead, read the books and stuff. So I read the book. I believe I opened. I believe I forgot what issue it was, but it was an issue where I believe it was right after the aftermath of where Void had did the destruction to the city,
Hmm.
right? And Hotshot was approaching Vigilance, and he was, he like questioned like what's up with you? What's wrong with you? And Vigilance, she just saved the day. First of all, Hotshot, get over yourself. Like you was getting beat down, and she became something, and that was like what first interested me, because you went and you said, oh, I want to create this Superman character, or the Superman character with Superman archetype, but I want to do something different, right? And when the mystery of Vigilance was, for me, that was my first encounter with that, and that was my first encounter with the books. And I encountered that to the point where, even though it was a Hot Shot book, I was like, who is this Vigilance character? Right? That was very interesting. The mystery always is the thing that sort of drives you to the story. The mystery. And the mystery of her has intrigued me since. And I think just you putting those books out that time, and for that book, because you put a lot of character, you put a lot of who they are, and you try to inject that in every book as possible. Even when you did the book where there was no dialogue, you did it into a way to where you would understand what was going on here. And so from these characters' perspective, you really, and I like that about your book. You have great action, right? You have great your personal style. It's really refreshing. And when you see these characters sort of be characters on screen, Hotshot with his burritos, and his outbursts, his anger is real, right? It's his frustration, right? It's him doing these things and trying to be this person, but when he come back to his life, because he's really a fun-loving guy, but there's only so much anybody can take,
Hmm.
right? And it's like, dang man, I'm going out here, I'm saving the world. Why is everybody on my back?
Right.
I can't be this person. He's not going to be that person. That's who he is. He's going to have those outbursts. You know what I mean? And that's just him. He's so human for it. And I love that about the Hot Shot series and Hot Shot. But vigilance. On the other side of that is more of this outsider, this alien, right? That's trying to cope and trying to be the defender because she trying to find her own focus in life because she has none because she don't
Hmm.
remember who she is, and she's adopted somebody else's life. But underneath that is another person, and we haven't seen that person. And and again, so now you're creating this ideal as we want to meet the real vigilance, right? Or do we? It's another question. Or do we?
Ha!
You know,
No, y'all
so
do, because
okay,
it's further down the rabbit hole. Hold on
yeah,
a second. Drew says, Andrew says, as someone who is the son of someone who kept secrets from his wife, those kind of things can change people and ruin relationships. Hot Shot should have told her, damn the consequences. I love it.
yeah. If he really wanted to have her in his life like he wants to, he does have to open up. They have to do it together. You know that when you have secrets like that and you don't open it up, that means like you don't trust this person, right? Like you're both not in it. You're both not in it to support each other. So he kind of seemed like he didn't trust her with that information. He didn't trust what she was going to do with that information. So that makes questioning for Carla to be like, well, see, we're on Carla's side again. It's like, well, if you don't trust me with the information, how are we going to have a life together, right? So I do sort of understand the how she felt about that particular situation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and like I said before, it's two sides to each story,
Yeah,
and it probably would have saved him a lot of trouble. Um, if he would have told her or not. But from his perspective, he's a geek. He's a comic book fan. He's a super.
yeah,
You don't tell anyone who your secret identity is because that could be used against you.
yeah. They can go after your family. They
Hmm.
go after your friends. They know where you are. They know what you do. Yeah.
Um, Give me 1 second here. So we switch gears. Uh, Fill everybody else in on what up, Jay man. We got new people in here. Get them up
Okay.
to speed on this character again.
Okay. So this character, headmaster of an intergalactic policing agency called the Academy. She, with along with some young recruits, ended up being trapped in the opposite side of the universe called the Void, and there she has to survive with these young recruits who do not like her, while trying to find her, the rest of her crew that crash landed on this planet. While in the void, there is this gas that makes the characters lose psychosis, and when they do that, they are or sanity. When they do that, they are hunted by things called void horrors, which is something like this, right? Where now they have to build shelter and they have to build weapons by consuming the creatures that are on the planet in order to contain their sanity and to survive the harsh alien weather that will take their sanity away from them. So that is what Lost World is. Now, this character, Jake Contour, here, her abilities, she is a extraterrestrial who is called a Floridian. She has the ability to absorb kinetic energy and release it in the form of heat. And she has fastened very specific pistols that allows her to shoot that energy out of her weapon. And she is joined with Uzu and Trask, who are also both different aliens with different abilities that use these resources in very different ways. So yeah, that's Lost World without spending a better amount of a couple of hours to breaking down the entire story and characters and world and planets and all that stuff within the celestial tier.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I just want to get the new people that just joined us caught up.
no
I saw
problem.
J Man just jumped in, a couple other people. J Man, I think is a most consistent viewer with Andrew and Brad Arnie right behind him.
Someone said you should make a Carlin miniseries.
Well, I had in discussions. I just hadn't got up to writing it yet to do the podcast shorts with
Mhm.
Denny J Quick, but they would feature Carla. Um, I'm always trying to think of ways to get more content out that would
Yeah.
be reflective of the story or whatnot. Because Carla is definitely uh, still involved with the book. We're going to be seeing more of Carla
Mhm.
um, in ways that people may not even expect yet. But she's got a lot planned. We got a lot planned for her. But as these stories continue, it was never an idea to like do extra content featuring Carla to explain her side because I just automatically thought people would get it. But with the more and more that this gets talked about, like we just did FSK Day and stuff, um, the idea becomes more intriguing to come up with something that is just focused on her.
Another good. So I remember. So Emerald Quest, right?
Hmm.
So I remember. So is Emerald Quest that's is the same? If the first book's still the same book, or you made improvements on it?
Uh, the art is the same,
Okay.
but we punched up the dialogue.
Okay. So because I remember the last time when I read it, it was more of just. I think it was like it felt like you were jumping from different stories, but you probably were setting up different stories,
Hmm.
and that there was no central focus, right?
Right.
So you didn't understand, and it probably was, I guess to me that kind of was like an issue zero, right? Where
Hmm.
we're just going to introduce all these different, because there was different factions, there were different people, there were so many people to keep track of,
Right. Right. Right.
and it was good, it was intriguing, but it was just that you go from one thing, I left that part of the story, now this thing is happening, now that thing is happening.
Hmm.
So I thought it was less of more dialogue and more of just like the pacing. So, what was your original idea when you came up with the way you wanted to tell that story?
So
'Cause
this is
but
this is a,
that's also just one person's opinion. You
right,
know?
but no,
Yeah,
but I also agree with that opinion.
yeah,
Um, here's the cool thing about growth.
yeah,
um, I think we took that critique and feedback and we immediately put it into the second issue
yeah,
and then drove it home even more so in the third issue.
yeah,
Um, little Easter egg. Um, all the number 3 issues thus far slow things down and get deep
yeah.
in all the FSK books. The number 3
Okay.
issues all do. It's kind of been an unsung little Easter egg or thing that
Yeah.
we do or whatnot. But my appeal was always to pull people in with the first issue. It was just like, oh my
Mhm.
god, look at all these cool characters and things that are being set up. My line of sight was Game of Thrones. I
Okay.
enjoyed how Game of Thrones hopped from one story to the next to set
Okay.
up all these narratives. And then once it was set up, then we could spend more time and focus on each one. So that was my objective. And I don't want to change too much of that. Like when I say so, we're basically doing a remix number 1 issue
Okay.
for Short Fuse. We're adding more context to what's going on in each scene
Yeah.
of the book, more dialogue, more thought bubbles and stuff like that. I got LaShawn Coven, Andrea Smith, and Haley Dennis as editors
Okay.
um, on the book, and so them going through there, they've given a lot of good feedback. So I'm punching that up for the first and second issue to make it feel more complete because going back and reading it, it does not feel as complete as
Yeah.
it should. But not changing anything with the art. um our third issue, and it's kind of like, we got the chance to do this with being able to re-release it through Short Fuse, and
Yeah.
we got 2 issues already in the hole, and plenty of time to do this with the experience that we have now. Like I couldn't think of moving on a comic book now without an editor.
Yeah.
Without having an editor on a book, I
Yeah.
like that thought will never ever occur into my head again. So
Mhm.
I knew with that coming around, and, you just said it and other people have said it, like there was no focus in the first issue. Like I know, like I don't know who the main character is supposed to be, and in my head I'm like, well, you're not supposed to know what the main character is supposed to be because
Yeah.
you are supposed to be jumping from one scene to the
Yeah.
next.
So there is no
But
main character.
there is
Okay.
Marky
Okay.
is,
Okay.
but my transitions in that book are too rough and
Yeah.
too sudden.
Yeah, I would say so.
Hmm.
But even at the same time, I think all your all your books have a different type of storytelling,
Hmm.
right? So, um, um, Heroes International, the storytelling is very different from your Hotshot and your Vigilance book. Where Heroes International, to me, it kind of felt more like a Saturday morning cartoon, right? Where something happened in this book, right? But it may not necessarily have anything to do with the next story, right? Because there was like almost three different stories that was told. Currently, I don't know if they interconnect, but it was a really cool way to sort of tell these stories. Sort of, you almost had like, because even though they were fumbling and bumbling around through most of them, like the prison break in the second book, like that was very interesting. You introduced some new villains that were cool and interesting. They all had like this little quirk to them, and the characters, they got like they got shrunk down, and so that's why I was like, the storytelling with those books are very different, and it was cool.
Man, to speak on that, that was all Luke Herr. He actually set up a RPG night
Okay.
and played the characters in the RPG, brought his friends over, and that's how he wrote the first two issues.
Oh, okay.
So I
Interesting.
thought that that was always quite clever and fun, and that's why
Yeah.
those books feel the most different.
Yeah.
But you get these kind of like chaotic, fun episodes to
Yeah.
go with the chaoticness of Heroes International.
Yeah. So that they yeah, okay. So now they feel like different sessions of RPG games. That's kind of
Hmm.
cool. That's
And
cool. Yeah.
so, and then with the third issue, though, we needed it to be more focused.
Mhm.
Um, we wanted to establish, the hecticness of it, the
Yeah.
shambles and the fumbles. But now with the third issue, which is I believe is a 4-part arc that we have happening here, is that we wanted to get back focused on, giving them a direction. Now we
Yeah.
know their mess ups. Now how do we clean up this mess? How do we start to
Yeah.
shape them up?
Yeah. I thought it would have been cool. Well, it's like as a fan of the series, right, of the books,
Hmm.
you have these ideas that, oh, when are we going to see Hot Shot Heroes International? But it may not necessarily be a place for Hot Shot. You know what I mean? But as a fan, you're like, oh, that'll be cool. So I be looking at, I look at the book like that, because I know when I originally saw it, like, oh, it's a superhero team in Freestyle Comics. Where Hot Shot at?
Well,
But
see, and we think the same way that you do too. So
yeah,
like, we're very particular about crossovers in general with other studios or whatnot. But the intention for our books is that these books are all crossed over. These are
yeah,
what we call or what we dub casual crossovers because they're in the
yeah,
same world or not. So
yeah,
with the growth and stuff, we've got Veronica Smith doing Hot Shot and Friends, and Hot Shot. It's a more cartoon comic strip version of it,
yeah.
but these stories still count in the Hot Shot verse. And
Okay,
he's doing stuff with Human and Nimbus and things like that. Um,
so it's like what you have in the what do you call it? The
Cipher,
Cipher. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, because that's where I think it's seen a origin of Titan in the Cipher, where they
yes,
were they
sir.
were picking on her, and she unleashed her power, and Hotshot was there to sort of calm her down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was other like this, and there's one panel in Hotshot book where you see a bunch of um uh uh you see a bunch of crossover characters within this sort of multiverse view. I seen another character from I think Legends Press. I saw Project
Mm-hmm.
Wildfire in there. So there's a lot of crossovers there as well. I also like seeing that they were fighting that dragon lady
Yeah.
that Hotshot was and Dyna Girl was fighting, and then
Mm-hmm.
Heroes International, they were fighting her in the first book. So that was pretty cool as well. I like seeing the villains show up, and you really feel like this universe is, this is you got enough books here, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
universe is definitely here, and we see the different places and the different people, the different villains, the different characters sort of meld all over the place throughout the books. That's cool. That feels really, really good when you're a reader and you see things like, oh snap, that's from such and such. So that's dope about the freestyle comic books.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. So.
And that's another question I had, because about Hot Shot in particular,
Mm-hmm.
because as you go to Heroes International, there's a bunch of characters that got these vastly different powers. There's very, very original powers. When you go to your first character, Hotshot, how would you say you go about? Okay, he's a character that does fire, right?
Hmm.
Um, how is my character that does fire different than any other character that does fire?
I think it for Hotshot it starts in how his fire looks.
Mm-hmm.
When he's using his powers or whatnot, and what he's able to do with his powers. But not only that, but the source of his powers. So
Mm-hmm.
I've always, I don't know where I got it from. I know it's completely made up science.
Okay.
Uh, but the whole thing is that Hotshot uses the oxygen molecules in the air
Okay.
to create the heat blast that he does.
Okay.
And he's got different levels of it, but he doesn't know how to access all those levels, obviously.
Okay.
Um,
So
and
he uses it to fuel the fire.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's why when he's in water, he can't use any fire
All
because
right.
there's no oxygen in water
Yeah.
or whatnot, and that's one of his weaknesses and things like that. So
Uh-oh.
I try to, I try to. I try to come up with a scientific reasoning for it, but I've just always stuck with it. But that's why he's able to send kind of teleport fire into different
Yeah.
areas or whatnot, and create a spark somewhere else.
But
Um,
he got his powers after Zero event, right?
yes, sir.
So it's kind of, and that's like a mystery in all of itself. It's like, okay, so after Zero event, he got his powers, but like how?
Hmm.
And why is that? And you're looking for that, and like, why was he so significant to get powers after the Zero event? And then, because after Zero event, a lot of the heroes, or most of the heroes in the world, they were gone. They were just gone.
Now, I can say I'm excited for people to get a hold of Zero Event #1,
Yeah,
but you are one of the people I can't wait to get that damn book.
yeah, yeah,
Like, because you're gonna eat it up. You're gonna devour it, and that's the thing. We don't directly
mm,
say how Hotshot gets his powers in that
yeah.
book, but we do show you.
Okay.
Like, if you're reading and paying attention, you will be able to connect the dots.
Because it sounded like with Hot Shot, because you said that he sort of uses the oxygen molecules to fuel the fire,
Hmm.
but perhaps he's excreting uh, the uh, 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 the gas in order that he needs to. What's that? The In order that he needs to like spark or combine it within the air to in order to make this fire. You just come up with stuff.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's how things work.
But it's
You
fantasy.
know,
You can make what happen whatever way. So yeah. So I guess that's interesting. But even further interesting is how you're going to, because you say, well, how are you going to, unique ways of having him use that power in the future would be interesting. That would
yeah.
be
And
interesting.
some of that stuff has already been worked out.
Hmm.
Um, like for instance, when I took we rewrote issue 9 because I realized we were missing a lot of things that needed to be in
Okay.
there to make the story feel like it was a full story, inclusive of all the issues beforehand. Don't get me wrong, I love 7 and 8.
Yeah.
I still think 7 and 8 or 8 is the best art that I've done on the book so far.
Hmm.
But despite all that fun, I got caught up in my own geekiness
Okay.
and was like, "Oh shit, just run it because that's dope. Let's do it. I can't wait to draw it."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is just a dope crossover." But I have these power moments, or these moments where he uses his powers in different ways and stuff, and then but in the background I'm trying to write, well, how do we get up to those points?
Mhm.
How does he address or learn this significant way to manipulate and use his powers?
Yeah.
Which is part of the fuel of why I've been drawn so much outside of I should be, but working on these books. I want to get this 4-part this next arc out to you guys, because Danny and I got a one shot after that we want to do, and
Mhm.
then what we introduce after that, like, we technically have the book plotted for 100 issues.
Okay.
Making
Oh
changes and
wow.
stuff, when we need to, because we've learned different things, or we want to take a story somewhere else. But uh, I know I'll tell you this: I'm a huge fan of My Hero Academia.
Hmm.
Huge. Naruto, if you the Homage Hero Challenge, Naruto is a big inspiration for Hotshot.
Hmm.
Invincible is a huge inspiration, and the reason for Naruto and Invincible is because I love how they tell a story. I
Yeah,
love how they built up their characters. I love how characters unlock powers or show power growth
yeah.
in those series. So I'm trying to do the same thing and make it make sense. Uh, and this is actually funny. So I mean, you're kind of like the perfect person to talk about it with.
Hmm.
I was watching the anime Sinbad
Okay.
last night. Fun series, fun little series.
Yeah,
Not an amazing anime, not
yeah,
mind blowing. It's not
yeah,
Cowboy Bebop. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? But it's fun. It's a
Yeah.
fun anime that you can ride with, and
Okay.
and for certain books, I don't want to just make a fun comic book.
Okay.
I want something that you can ride with that
Yeah.
takes you on a journey and experience. And when things happen in a book, yes, you can tell. Well, I know Mike loves My Hero Academia. That's clearly an homage
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
But I still want it to make sense with the narrative that's happening with the character.
Something that I want to ask you is like, how did you develop your style, your individual style?
hmm
Huh?
Um, that style is still in development.
Okay.
It's a constant growth thing.
Okay.
There are tons of comic artists I'm huge fans of, but
Hmm.
the most significant one, Mark Bagley, Adam Kubert, Joe Mad,
Yeah.
um, Oliver Coppel, uh, and I've been trying to, I know my artwork has definitely changed since I've been drawing on the iPad because when I go
Hmm.
back and draw on paper, I see a significant difference. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to still flesh out my digital style,
Hmm.
but I'm trying to find that in the form of I love what they do in manga. Again,
Yeah.
My Hero Academia, I read that book every week. And what they do with speed lines and
Yeah.
action in a still image, I love it. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my version of that or whatnot. But um, my style is a constant growth. It's still in process. It's still
Yeah.
growing. I'm still taking notes and stuff like that. But um, I've been drawing on an iPad for 2 years now.
Because the reason why I say that is, most people try to do this very, uh, I guess it's like standard of comic book art, right? And it's
hmm
for the most part, it gets stale after a while because everybody sort of does the same thing. But when you see somebody like when you have your own individual style, I can see something. I'm like, that's Mike Watson. It's your signature,
hmm
right? And it's like, oh, that's something Mike Watson did, and I know you did it because your art is a reflection of uh, your individual style and is your expression. Is how you see the world, and I think it's a very unique. I think it's a very cool style that you have there. That's why I was curious.
Oh
I was
man, thank
curious
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Like I'm having a blast
it
drawing your character.
stands
Like
out.
I'm trying as much to make her like a cartoon character right now, like
Yeah,
a real sharp manga anime type character.
yeah,
As far as like the influence, the look of her.
yeah. I can see what you're saying. Yeah, it
But
looks
yeah,
cool. It looks cool. It looks cool.
but and I learned a lot from our indie creatives too. Looking at their work and stuff.
Yeah.
But probably the biggest, quickest amount of change and growth has been me on Chat and Draw.
Hmm.
Um, just being able to come on here and I'm not drawing the same thing that I always draw,
Yeah.
and everybody has different characters and stuff. Like Stephanie Menard's been on the show like 2 or 3 times, and she does horror, so my
Yeah.
characters have to be different for that, or what I'm drawing. Like I can't draw. Well, I could draw somebody punching something in the face or
Yeah.
whatnot, but that doesn't work with her story.
Yeah.
So trying to, I think what I did for one of her last pieces was I did a Vogue model shoot. I used that as reference for it.
Oh wow.
And I put her crazy. It was the crazy wife in the story, and I laid her out like she was a queen.
Uh,
Because because Stephanie said that's how she moves around. She
mhm.
runs that house. So trying to come up with different ways for these things to look and stuff like that. Um, I'd say just drawing all the time It's what's really helping my style grow. I finished another page of Hot Shot yesterday, and that's why I put that video out that other day
Yeah.
because I noticed like the growth, and I noticed how long it took me to do that page, and draw the faces and the body language and everything on there, and like a page like that normally takes me like 7-8 hours, but I did it in
Mhm.
like 3 or 4 hours. I was able to get 2 pages done in that one day or whatnot.
So what's a typical day, a typical productive day for you?
A typical productive day would be, well, today was not a productive day.
Okay.
uh,
Appreciate the honesty.
we were we worked on the house yesterday, so we
Oh
made it
yeah,
to
I
where
see how that can. I know how that goes.
each one of the kids have their own rooms now. So
Oh,
that took out more of me than I
each,
thought it did. Yeah,
each. And how
yeah.
many
We
kids you? How many kids you got?
four. We
Okay.
made some rooms. We made some rooms out of some other rooms,
Yeah,
but basically,
I would needed six.
uh,
But yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
but
Yeah.
this weekend,
I mean, that's still productive. That's still
yeah,
productive. Making more room. So you did your own home renovation.
nah. If we were being janky with it, yeah. But
I feel you. I
we,
feel
we
you.
we make it do what it do.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
this weekend I worked on the new project that I'm working on with Lori Foster and Moana McAdams.
Okay.
And that was distracting because I was only supposed to work on it for like 3 hours. I ended up working
Oh,
on it all day, but I got a lot of stuff done. I did.
how many? Yeah, I'm sorry. I was gonna say how many pages did you do?
Well, it's all concept work right now. So I got
Okay.
20 character sheets done with
Oh,
color
really?
variations on them.
Yeah.
I got our main cast of characters designed front, back, and side. Um, and then I added to Moana's writing it, but
Okay.
I'll hit her with these notes of things that I think for the characters, like character bios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I put together all of their, which people we're going to use for reference as a
Yeah.
reference source for how the characters look.
Okay.
Then did a page of the comic book for Hotshot.
Okay. That's plenty of work. That's not a typical day, though, is it?
Those are my weekends.
Oh, your weekend you usually get that much work done.
Uh huh.
That's a
And
lot
then
of work, man.
during a regular work day, um, I do social media for like 2 or 3 hours a day,
Yeah.
and then I'll be drawing the commissions I may have done and chipping away at hotshot pages and still coming back to that project. But I do a lot of graphic design stuff. So I've been doing the graphic design stuff for LaShawn Colvin's Kickstarter, which
Okay.
is like for her Kickstarter page.
The beautiful soldiers.
The Beautiful Soldiers one, which
Okay.
has been a blast. I got some inside looks there.
Okay.
Um, for Daniel Calvin because we're working on his next one.
Oh snap!
Um, and then I've been doing the
Is
graphics
that
for
American
mine.
Dreams or is that a different book?
American Dreams next issue.
Okay. All right.
That I've been working on mine for the Hot Shot trade for Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Okay.
Um, talking with anybody from FSK as far as getting our scripts and stories together,
Yeah.
um, plot ideas and things like that. So it's a lot.
Yeah. 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 It is. It is. It's plenty of work. Yeah, plenty of work. And then you have your kids and all everything as well. So there goes that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we watched movies this weekend.
Oh
So I
yeah,
have a
we did the
TV in my
same.
studio. So um, they come in here and watch, or I'll take the iPad into the living room and set up and watch it with theirs. So I'm killing two birds with one stone.
Is any of your kids artists?
Yeah, two of my daughters. Well,
Okay.
they all draw, but
Okay. I
I
know
don't know
that.
what they're gonna do with it yet.
Okay. But two of them, your daughters, you say are artists.
Yeah.
So you know they got the juice.
hmm And I think my other two do it because they do it.
Yeah. They got to find their own thing.
hmm
Ah, oh man, I thought it was funny when you said you like two of my daughters. They all draw. But then I was like, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm a parent too. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, because I have because one of my projects, this project right here, my oldest son, I had him create the monsters for this game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he did a phenomenal job because the mind of a kid is pretty interesting, and it's just that when they are influenced by too many things, they kind of lose it. Because creativity is influenced by a lot of stuff, but um, I guess when he got influenced by a little bit too much TV and a little bit too much outside stuff, his creativity like took a dive. But when he did it, we worked together. I actually paid him for that particular job, and we worked together. And he created all the monsters, and we did like what their stats was and what their where they are located, and it came out really really well. But other than that, uh, the other kids try.
Mm-hmm.
We can try. Oh, he actually created this board game. He called it Doom Patrol, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he used a lot of like his Imaginext and stuff to, he had like the DC Imaginext and the
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, and he got the Marvel stuff later. And he created like they had like different skill cards, and he created like a grid. They were like he created like bosses for it, and he had like their hit points marked down, and the way that you sort of level up is you go through, and every time you defeated an enemy, you sort of got their weapon, and you also got a bit of XP. So it
Okay.
was cool. It was funny. I was when he first made it, I was like, man, this game sucks. Before I played it, I'm like, it's gonna be trash. But let's go ahead. He keep asking to play it. Then I'm playing. I'm getting all into it now. I'm like, oh nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. So the game was fun when he created it. So I'm I hope that I influenced that a little bit. But even if I didn't, it's kind of cool that he sort of can come up with stuff like that on his own. Yeah. So yeah, I was just curious about your kids and creative, because I know you have to influence them in some way with their art.
I try.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There we go. All right, man. What do you say?
I think it looks awesome. I
Let's
think it
get
looks
that
really good.
playback.
Oh, there you go. The sketch.
J-Man said, if your story is made into an anime movie, I know the perfect song and the scene in it. A song by Kiss called Into the Void. And yes, is a space song sung by Ace Frehley, Space Ace.
Yeah, with the Vigilance book, it looked like you're looking to take that a bit more intergalactic with
Oh,
how that's going, especially with the Queen Mala kind of set the stage,
hmm,
and letting us know about the different things that's in outer space.
yeah, we'll say Intergalactic is going to hit Earth. So
Oh yeah,
we're definitely introducing it. We're not shying away from it. We're big comic book people at heart. We're geeks
yeah,
all the way through and through. So, um, we're big fans of Robert Kirkman and how he writes, especially
yeah,
particularly Invincible. So we tend to lean towards that formula. Is that we have the main story, but then we have a subplot that we're trying to build up behind the scenes, and then all of a sudden it's a big issue and it's all fighting, and you're like, well, how did we get here? And
yeah.
you go back and you see the other issues, like, oh shoot, they've been building up since issue 3, and we're
Okay.
on issue 10 now. So um, I will say there is something in Hotshot that no one has picked up on, and
Hmm.
well, Danny J. Quick started to, but there is a prominent thing that is reoccurring in those issues of Hotshot, and I would just keep my eye out if I was you.
Okay. Okay.
All right, we will.
About to make me go back through my books and see what I didn't pick up.
So I will. I want to thank you for being on the show, man.
No problem.
I appreciate it. This was super fun. I like this character a lot. She looked like she's about business, man. Like she doesn't, like you said, she doesn't play. So I
Yeah.
wanted to get something where she's just like, look, I'm gonna say this one time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to thank you for being on the show, letting us play in your world or whatnot. Let everybody know where they can find you at on social media.
Okay, you can find me at Instagram at Yin and Rel, at Twitter at Yin and Rel, on Instagram at Yin and Rel.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, on Patreon at Yin and Rel, and at whitegardenstudios.com, where you can find all our projects, our news, and our upcoming events. And I think that's pretty much it. I think it's at Twitter. Everything is at Yin and Rel, and we pretty
Okay.
much have a little bit of everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just got hit you guys with the Freestyle Comics email page, our landing page. If you want to know more about FSK, please sign up. We'll be sending out updates and stuff about our upcoming books, projects, and things like that. And I believe after last night, I've been thinking about this the last couple of days. I'm going to put together a committee of 2 to 3 people that will get early access to scripts and the layouts of Hotshot, because I want to know opinions and feedback as we get into this. Uh, if you sign up for the list, you may have a chance to be one of those people. I already kind of know 2 people that I want for that role. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this show and what I do, man, I do this on a regular basis, and I've been learning this thing called branding. So you can find me on all networks as Most Epic Arts on Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And don't forget, FSK hat $25. That includes the shipping. I don't think you're going to find a cooler cap. Freestyle Comics in the building, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good night, all.